What is going on, S2S Nation? This is your host, Taylor, and my co-host over there, Brandon. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Switched it
Not
up a little
much.
bit.
Yeah, reversing roles here. Figured I'd start it off for this show. What are your thoughts of the games this past weekend, though? Just jump right into it real quick. Just a quick,
touch up on it.
Yeah, just a quick.
We are a little late.
Few words. Yeah, little late, but we're here.
You're getting there. So the Bills-Chiefs overtime definitely needs to be changed. I understand the argument of win it in the regular 4 quarters, but it shouldn't come down to a quarter, aka coin flip. I think it was kind of passive aggressive that Chiefs fans donated $13 to Josh Allen's charity, which I mean it's nice because it's a good cause, but at the same time it's like, hey, he beat you with 13 seconds. Yeah. So here's $13. The Bengals Titans, Ryan Tannehill, who's who we thought Ryan Tannehill was, interception the very first play of the game. Bengals needed an offensive line, and we knew that from the beginning. He chose Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. 49ers Packers, Jimmy G is getting through these playoffs like an old piece of chewed gum that stuck to the bottom of your shoe and it's just going through life right now. And then the Rams and Buccaneers, ding dong, the witch is dead. The witch is dead. Tom Brady is gone out of there.
Yes, sir.
I guess we'll touch a little more up on them, but
oh yeah, we'll definitely dive into these games a little bit more. Yeah, just wanted to see what your thoughts were because I mean, honestly, one of the best weekends of football I've witnessed in a long time.
No doubt.
I mean, we've seen a lot of good games in our lives, but this past weekend was wild to say the least. So I think on the docket here to kick things off, one of the bigger news lines out there is Sean Payton retiring from the Saints head coaching position. What are your thoughts on that, man?
So Sean Payton meant a lot to the NFL. I think this is kind of not really a surprise, at least not to me. I think he was contemplating it for the past couple years. They're struggling, but they weren't really struggling. He's a great head coach. Honestly, I think he's still gonna coach in this league. I just think his time with the Saints was just kind of like how Andy Reid kind of ran his course with the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. Needed a new change of scenery. I think Sean Payton ultimately is that's kind of what's going on with him. He said he's going to take this year off, and then he'll revisit the idea of coaching next year.
So you think after 15 years coaching with the Saints, I believe it was all with the Saints, you think he's just going to be able to switch it up and go to a different team, or do you think he's, I'm done?
I think if he decides to come out of retirement, ultimately it's going to be to the Dallas Cowboys. I think that's one of the teams that he's kind of been linked to a lot, but they do have Mike McCarthy.
I don't know how long that's lasting.
It lasts one more year until Sean Payton says, "Hey, I want that job." At that point, Sean Payton can literally just walk up and go, "Hey, Mike, I need your key card to get into the building. You're no longer here." So Mike McCarthy is an average head coach, and I think with the amount of pressure that the Cowboys apply to themselves since 1995, this is our year kind of thing. And no, it's not your year. You're not dim boys. But I think he has the power just to walk in and take over for the Dallas Cowboys and be a real game changer.
Okay. So I could see that. I could see him going to the Cowboys. I mean, I think he would actually make the Cowboys contenders. And might be able to help him win a playoff game. Yeah. Don't run it up the middle with no timeouts. Yeah. So let's just say he retires and he stays retired. There's no team he wants to go coach, no offers that really entice him. He's got the sweet life now. He's sipping some pina colada down in Florida on the Keys or something, just living it up. All right. Do you think he's a Hall of Fame coach?
It's tricky. The reason why I say it's tricky because he's one Super Bowl?
I believe one. Yeah,
he beat the Colts. I don't know if one Super Bowl gets you in anymore. At least not like so. Like Andy Reid has one Super Bowl with the Chiefs, but he's got 5 NFC championships with the Eagles. He's dominant. He's the only coach to have, I think, over 80 wins. I think for 2 different teams. And he's got a Super Bowl, and he's
Eagles
got top
and
so so brought 2 different teams to the Super Bowl. So I think like if he's stack up against Andy Reid would get in. I don't know if he has that resume. I think he has a solid resume, but I don't know if he's up there with the Belichick and the Andy Reid. I think he's top 5, but he's not top 2.
All right. Let me throw this other question out at you. So for the NFL Hall of Fame, there's 2 things that they can take into account.
Yeah.
You've got your on-field play and then your off-field play. Of course, off-field play includes like if you've been arrested, charged for anything, stuff like that. There's the bounty situation with Sean Payton.
Yeah, that does add a
yeah. So
asterisk.
Do you think when, let's say it comes time for the voting to happen for Sean Payton or whatever to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, do you think that that's going to affect anybody's decision? You know, you only got 1 Super Bowl, 15 years of coaching, and you only have 1 Super Bowl to show for it, and you have the bounty scandal attached to your name.
I would say no, simply because if you're going to apply that same, I guess, logic or that same criteria, you got to apply it to Bill Belichick, and no one's denying Bill Belichick from the Hall of Fame whenever he decides to hang it up. I mean, he's got the Deflategate. I mean, he's got Spygate. He's got I mean,
But I mean, you gotta look at everything though, because look at Bill Belichick's rap sheet as a coach in the winning column. Okay, we're talking Super Bowls, championships, everything. Bill Belichick has it all. And then
he
you
also
look
has
at
one
Sean
murderer
Payton
on his team. And
and then you got Sean Payton with 1 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Bill. Let's see, how many does Bill have? He's got too many to freaking count now. 6?
6, yeah.
6? Okay, so you got 6. All right.
I'm going to change my answer. All right, before you go on. I think that no, he doesn't get in. And it will be somewhat of an asterisk. Not a whole full asterisk, but some voters, I believe, are going to pull in the factor that he had Drew Brees most of his tenure at with the New Orleans Saints, and that Drew Brees is a Hall of Fame talent that he might have lifted up some of that. Maybe I don't say he has a poor coaching job because he's a great coach, but like some of the mistakes that would have been otherwise exploited without Drew Brees there.
Fair enough. All right, so we'll say Bill gets in when the time comes, but Sean wouldn't, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that don't even need to jump into anything here then. All right. So we got that. I hope whatever he does, I hope he enjoys it. I mean, I know the bounty stuff was kind of a big controversy, but
we'll put a cork in it. The Tony Dungy got in as a coach, and he's won 1 Super Bowl. So, and he had Peyton Manning, which Peyton Manning called the offense. So there's a big crutch there.
Fair enough.
That he got in. So I mean, it's really he won't get in first try. If he does get in, it'll be like years down the road.
I think the I don't want to say the standard, but the odds of a head coach in the NFL getting in
is very hard.
I mean, if Dungy got in, I mean, he's not a terrible coach. I'm not saying he's a terrible coach, but definitely not a coach that is decorated with accolades or anything like that. I feel like it might actually be easier for head coaches to get into the Hall of Fame
than players
after 5 years of coaching. We'll say like a limit of 5 years of coaching to get in than it is for an NFL player who's been playing for 5 years to get in.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
All right. So whatever he does, I hope he enjoys it and he does well. I know the bounty stuff was kind of a big talking point when it came out. I didn't like it. I don't think football fans really enjoyed it. But at the same time, it kind of is football. When you see a potential threat on the team, you want to hit them hard. We don't want players to get injured, of course, on either team. But once you start putting money out there on the heads of other players, then it's kind of
is different from old school football, because back in the day, you'd go on media and you're going, I'm going to rip his head off and make sure his kids never have a father again. And you're like, oh, dude, you need therapy?
What the fuck? Yeah.
So
somebody check on that man.
You don't need to pay me to kill a man, Ray Lewis.
We can't detect CTE. Yeah, you can. Right there. All right. Well, Sean, whatever you do, man, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you succeed in whatever you're doing. In other news of possible retires or retirees, whatever you want to call it, Tom Brady. Now, do you think that Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams defense and their offense were able to actually finally put the final nail in the coffin and get Tom Brady out of the NFL and into retirement? Or do you think that Tom Brady, the Grim Reaper, is coming back once again to try and win another Super Bowl and go out on a high note?
I think this is it for him. He's a true competitor, and he probably could play another year.
He could absolutely play another year, no doubt in my mind.
However, he put out a statement saying that, he misses his family. He's put him through X amount of years of traveling and not seeing his kids every day. And his wife makes enough money, so it's not like he'll be hurting anything. And I think, like I said, the competitor in Tom, he wants to keep playing. The father in Tom, he's watching his kids grow up from afar, from a distance, and that kind of takes a toll, because I think his family lives in California, where he's originally from, and he's over in New England for half the year. So I think that takes an emotional toll. He lives in Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whatever. But nonetheless.
He's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
My bad. Florida. Sorry. He's no longer with the Patriots. It's weird, all right? It's weird. Yeah, but anyways,
I got you.
So they're from Florida. He lives in Florida, and they're, all the way in California. So I think the distance is what's weighing his toll on him, and I think he'll decide to call it quits.
Yeah, I get that. I guess whenever you have that amount of money attached to your name, whether it is your money or your wife's money, you could really retire at any point in any given time you want to. Mm-hmm. As an average Joe, a regular guy who has a father that's worked since he was 18 years old and he's still working at the age of 50 something. Yeah. Saying like, oh, I want to retire now that I'm 40 something and watch my kids grow up. Everybody else has to work, and everybody has to miss certain things in life that they wish they could be there for. And now for Tom Brady to be 40 something years old, a multimillionaire, to come out and say, I think this is going to be my last year so I can watch my kids grow up. Everybody watches their kids grow up. So that's kind of like a scapegoat, in my opinion, for him to retire. What you talking
about, man? His son's already ripping cigs, man. He's like, what are you doing, man?
I'm just saying this is 100% a scapegoat for him to retire. I think he's just beaten down. I mean, he hasn't taken many shots, but some of the shots he's taken have been pretty hard shots, and he doesn't really have the body structure to take hits like that.
That man
he's been throwing the ball for 20-something years. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a toll on the arm. But for me personally, I do think he comes back for one more year, minimum. I don't think Tom Brady has it in him to go out the way he did. I know he went out of New England on a bad note, but I mean, it gets like -10 up there. I'd dip out too, But I think he's got one more year in him, minimum. I think he's going to come back, have a retirement tour. I don't think he's going to go out like this and not have that legendary exit. Like Derek Jeter had a legendary exit. Kobe had a legendary exit. Manning had the exit. all these greats had
Lewis,
that exit. I don't think he's going to not get that, and I think a lot of people would kind of be.
I think he is. I don't think he's gonna win the Super Bowl. Even if he comes back, he's not gonna win the Super Bowl.
Even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, this is how I'm looking at it. Tom Brady is, without a doubt, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. That is just a fact. The stats align with it. Whether he's the check down king or not, Tom Brady's the GOAT.
My dad's going to kill you.
When it comes to NFL quarterbacks, he has the hardware for it. He's got the stats for it. I hate to say it. It's just what it is. Okay? Tom Brady's the GOAT. With that said, if Tom Brady retires, a lot of fans are going to be quite upset that they weren't able to go and watch one of his last games. They weren't able to get tickets to go see him play their favorite team for the last time. They won't be able to go see Tom Brady lose to the Miami Dolphins again for the last time. They want that chance to say, I get to go watch Tom Brady for the last time in his professional career. He will be robbing fans of that. Big Ben didn't announce it, but we knew Big Ben was retiring.
Big Ben could barely walk.
That was a well-known fact that he was done at the end of the season. Tom Brady still up in the air, and if he goes ahead and retires, he'll technically be robbing these fans of that opportunity.
I don't know.
To see one of the greatest football players. I don't know, man. I'm marking this down right now.
Do it. Tom Brady retires on Sideline to Sideline. Next episode. I'm kidding.
Tom Brady comes back to play for the Detroit Lions. This is his final test. The Detroit Lions, and he brings them to the Super Bowl.
If
he does that,
brings the Lions to the Super Bowl.
Greatest human ever.
Greatest human. I mean, better start a religion after the man.
Yeah.
This man's basically walking
the Church of Brady.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Tom Brady retiring. I got him coming back for at least one more year. Where he'll end up at, if he does come back, who knows? He could literally go anywhere if he wants. Nobody's going to say no to the guy. All right. Now, I'm not too familiar with this situation, but I know you are, so I'm going to pass this on to you. The Carson Wentz situation that we got going on.
So before we go into the Carson Wentz situation, give an update to everyone. If you don't follow the NFL or you live under a rock, Byron Leftwich to the Jags, in which the signed, sealed, delivered deal. To the fan who tweeted at us saying it's not finalized, contract negotiations basically means it's finalized. It's just working out the money. So Byron Leftwich to the Jags is pretty much locked. Green Bay's offensive coordinator, Hockett, is going to the Broncos to be the new head coach. And so I definitely see them drafting a quarterback in the first round this year. New OC needs a quarterback. And then the Bills' offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, however you say his last name, is decided to take the Giants' head coaching job. And in the last 3 seasons, he's had 2 top 3 offenses. So the Giants hopefully can resurrect their offense. They have lots of weapons. So that's where we are, coaching carousel going on. But what Carson Wentz, if you guys don't know, seems to be out of Indy after 1 year. The Eagles just got a first-round pick for him. The Colts traded away. He's had a top 10 QBR, but Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts, Frank Wright is kind of backtracked first at the end of the season and said he's going to be our quarterback next year. I believe in Carson. Then he kind of said, well, we'll reevaluate. Chris Ballard said we're going to evaluate the position. And then the owner, Jim Irsay, the man who puts out the paycheck, says in a post on Twitter basically after the Bills-Chiefs game that it seems you need a quarterback that can put up 30 points a game in this new age NFL, so we will have to evaluate the quarterback position, which means if you're Carson Wentz and you're hearing your GM, your owner, and your coach all saying, we're going to have to look at the QB position, you're probably on your way out or on your way to the bench. Now, I will say this, worst case scenario for the Colts, right?
Worst case scenario is the Eagles trade with the Colts And Jalen Hurts is the new starter of the Colts, and Carson Wentz is the new starter of the Eagles. That's my guess. That's what I'm going with. We'll see if that happens. Probably won't. I don't know if either team wants either quarterback back at this point.
Hold on.
All good. All right, guys. Taking a quick little break here from the normal sideline to sideline stuff that we got going on. So, in my personal opinion, I think the Colts would be pulling the trigger a little too soon on eliminating Carson Wentz from the Colts. I mean, the dude had one season with the Colts, didn't do terribly, and he's being scrutinized left and right for whatever reason. I'm not sure why they're scrutinizing him the way that they are, but they are. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of like the Cleveland Browns situation with Baker Mayfield. Baker doesn't put up the greatest numbers. He plays injured. He has shoulder issues that he's got to rehab throughout the entire season. And then finally, at the end of the season, gets surgery to repair the issue that he had going on. And Browns fans just want to drag him through the mud. It makes no sense. You cannot get a Super Bowl out of every single quarterback, out of every single player each year. There's only one team that gets a Super Bowl, and that's it. I understand the want and the need to get a Super Bowl for your teams, but you can't expect that to happen every single year, especially if you don't invest in offensive lines like the Browns need to do. They need to invest in some more wide receivers, et cetera, et cetera. It's just starting to look like a mirror of the Browns. I don't know what's going on. That's what the Indianapolis Colts are looking like. They're looking like the Browns, jumping the gun on their quarterback and just completely going through and just trying to push out a good quarterback just because they didn't have the best year of their entire career. Those are my thoughts. Brandon's back here.
Sorry about that, guys. I had to put the dog to bed. But speaking of putting not to sleep, no, we didn't kill him.
Oh, okay.
So I know it's not traditional. Kind of taking an abrupt pause real quick. Kind of heard you say that they'll be the Browns if they get rid of Carson. Gotta catch my breath, man.
I'll fill you in what I said real quick so you can catch your breath. So what I was saying is, if the Colts end up pulling the trigger and getting Carson Wentz out of there after one season, they, in my eyes, will be the Cleveland Browns because that's what Cleveland does, and that's what they're doing now. You got Baker Mayfield, who played injured, just had surgery on his shoulder. He played through that injury the whole season, and now Browns fans are calling for a new quarterback. A new era of Browns football, as if they ever had an era.
Yeah.
And if the Colts go ahead and say, Wentz, well, you didn't get us to the Super Bowl, so you're out. Not every team wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Everybody's acting like, oh, well, we didn't make the Super Bowl. This guy sucks.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz gave you guys one heck of a season without an offensive line, in my opinion. The offensive line was trash.
They got no push against the Jaguars, and Carson got blamed for it.
None whatsoever. And if you guys pull the trigger, in my eyes, you'll be mirroring the Browns who pull the trigger too fast. Don't give things time to formulate and actually become something. Give them some pieces, give them some more wide receivers, get them an offensive line. You got a great running back, a good quarterback, some decent wide receivers, not great, not good, in my opinion.
Michael Pittman's not a true number one.
Michael Pittman is a decent wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's it. Tight end, I don't even know who their tight end is.
Mo Alley
I know
Cox. Jack Doyle's retiring at the end of the season, so
yeah, I don't know who that is. Get some playmakers out on that field so he has somebody to throw to.
Yeah.
Work on the defense a little more. It's not one of the best defenses in the league right now. Work on it just a little more.
Yeah.
Then you'll have a Super Bowl contender team. To put blame on one key position and saying this is the reason why we suck. Look at the 49ers. They are in the playoffs about to potentially go to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. Like you said, he's gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah. And, I mean, you look at it, he goes from a situation in Philly where he had one statistical bad year outside of his rookie year. And his rookie year, everyone always, any quarterback rookie year, you take that and you just kind of throw it away. And then you judge them based on the rest of their career because that's when they're learning. But 2020, he struggled. He leaves. Instead of drafting help with Philadelphia because he was thrown to his number one wide receivers, Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham. Greg Ward is a fourth-string receiver now in the Eagles, and he came and beat out Jalen Reagor to start. And then you got Travis Fulgham, who's not even in the NFL anymore. Then he goes to Indy, and people are like, the situation's better in Indy. He's got to perform. You've got an old, and I mean old, T.Y. Hilton. You have Jonathan Taylor.
So breaking down.
Yeah, so you upgrade at running back, and then you get Michael Pittman, who is, I mean, I guess it's better than what the Eagles had, but it's one kind of option to throw to.
He's a slightly better Kenny Stills.
Yeah, and I mean, the Eagles had better tight end situation with Ertz and Goddard, but the strong point of the Indianapolis Colts is the run game and the defense. If you want Carson, listen, he lost 2 games for you guys, right? I would say maybe the Titans game, because he threw a pick in the overtime, and then probably the Ravens game, right? He struggled there. Or maybe he lost 3 games because he threw a bad pass to Ty, overthrew him, but 3 games. But nonetheless, he helped you also beat Arizona. If he doesn't make that incredible pass that had the NFL going, wow, is this Carson Wentz of old? You guys aren't even considered in the playoffs 3 games prior to the Jags game.
Yeah.
So, and then you break it down to the last game. If you are in the position where the last game gets you in the playoffs, then it's not just one player who put you in that position. There's other aspects into that. And then you just look at the Jags game, right? Because I was there, I heard the Colts fans, they're like, well, it wasn't the offensive line's fault that he got sacked 6 times. Who was? He doesn't block for himself. Like, I know people think quarterbacks are superhuman, but they can't block for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, he held on to the ball too long. He had like 2 seconds to throw. He didn't hold on to the ball too long, and his wide receivers were not getting separation. Michael Pittman is not a super fast wide receiver, so he's not always getting separation. And he's their only option, so... And then people bring up Zach Pascal. Zach Pascal was talking to his parents and was kind of upset with Carson. We're not going to put out his stuff, whatever. He went to getting 500 yards a season to 380 this year, right? So they're like, well, that's Carson's fault that Zach Pascal is not putting up 120 more yards. It's 120 yards. Zach Pascal was not a number 2 wide receiver in this league. He's barely a number 3 in this league. I mean, it's like if Zach Pascal went to a different team, he's just because they have Aaron Rodgers doesn't mean he's putting up 1,000 yards. It's Zach Pascal.
Agreed.
And that was ultimately their second best option. T.Y. Hilton was continuously injured and still injured, and then he's old. He's he's getting ready to retire. He's not what T.Y. used to be. So he had a top 10 QBR. The only quarterbacks I could see the Colts replacing and upgrading at this point coming into this next season is if you can get Russell Wilson. And even then, you might get that. You have to be in a win-now situation. Yeah. And Russell Wilson's to the age where he needs weapons as well. He can't do it all himself anymore. Aaron Rodgers. But even Aaron Rodgers, you guys bring up Aaron Rodgers, but he's won one Super Bowl and he's had loads of talent. Yep. Out of X amount of years. And he brings drama. So if you're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in, you have to be willing to accept the drama that he brings. And he chokes in the playoffs. I don't know why everyone thinks that Aaron Rodgers is...
Yeah, we'll get to Rodgers here in a little bit.
In a second. And then Derek Carr. Honestly, I take Carson over Derek Carr. If I'm trying to build a franchise, Derek Carr isn't going to win you a Super Bowl, so there's no need to waste money on paying him big bucks. Kirk Cousins is solid, but he's not solid enough to win you a Super Bowl. If he was, he'd already win one with the Minnesota Vikings. They have loads of talent. They have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. They have Dalvin Cook. Their defense is stacked. But you see Kirk Cousins puts up numbers, and that's what everyone looks at, their numbers, but he doesn't win games. So you don't want that. And then that's it.
It's weird because statistically this past season, I don't know if at the end of the season, but statistically the Vikings were on paper one of the best teams in the NFL. And it just didn't formulate into anything. Yeah. You got to win games.
You got to win games. And Carson, out of all quarterbacks that are like 26 and younger, is the only quarterback that has 13 wins against winning teams. That's more than Derek Carr. That's more than Kirk Cousins and all that. So, I mean, you're rounding it up.
Final thought answer here. Do you think that the Indianapolis Colts keep Carson Wentz? Yes or no?
The way they're talking, no, but yes. Okay. And if they decide,
I know we both agree that he should stay.
Yeah.
Minimum 1 year.
At least
to get a couple extra pieces.
Yeah.
And you think that Russell Wilson would be a good fit? I think I don't really see Russ leaving Seattle. I think he loves that city way too much, and Seattle loves him too much to let him go. I think the coaching situation there is what's going to change this offseason.
I know him and Pete Carroll have been butting heads, so.
Yeah, I think Pete Carroll's done, man. We'll get into that next time whenever it becomes a news story. Everybody knows my position on Pete Carroll. Mm-hmm. Time to go. Anyways, I don't see Aaron Rodgers going there. Like Aaron Rodgers said, he doesn't want to be a part of any rebuild.
Yeah, and that's what the Colts are in right now.
The Colts are still in a rebuild. So they've been in a rebuild since Andrew Luck was like, all right, I'm done.
This is how I see Aaron Rodgers going to the Colts, right? If Devontae Adams, who's a free agent, follows Aaron Rodgers to Indy, that would make Indy a contender because you have Michael Pittman and Devontae Adams on each side. You have Jonathan Taylor, and you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, and a decent offensive line and a good defense. It's solid defense. They're not great, but they're not bad. I think that would be the only reason. But if Devontae Adams doesn't follow and they still only have Michael Pittman, Aaron Rodgers is not coming through.
I agree with that, but I don't think Devontae Adams would go.
No.
It's just not a good selling point.
Yeah.
They're still in a rebuild, and Adams is top 5 wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not going to dip into a rebuild team. He's not the GOAT Tom Brady who can take a rebuild team and take them to the championship. Anyways, we both agree Wentz needs and deserves one more year. We're not 100% sure on who his replacement would be, whether it be somebody from the draft or getting somebody else already in the league.
I hope it's not for someone from the draft because, one, they don't have a first-round pick. And two, this ain't the draft to do it. I have a question, though, for you.
Go for it.
If Wentz does leave, what team do you think might be? I have a team in mind, but what team do you think would be his best fit?
New York Giants.
The Giants?
The Giants.
See, I'm going Green Bay. I think that he's from North Dakota. Wisconsin's pretty close. I think I'm pretty sure he's a Packers fan growing up.
I can see that. Yeah.
He likes the cold. He's a hunter.
So a little QB swap is what you're saying. Yeah. Gotcha. I can see that happening. I think Daniel Jones is hot garbage and shouldn't be anywhere near a football.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think Carson Wentz could actually bring some life back to that team and actually salvage Barkley's career. Because
Kadarius Toney's career, and it just
what a waste of talent right now, man, for that whole team. It stems from that trash can behind the center. I mean,
they need a new medical team too.
But. Yeah, they need a lot of new things.
Yeah.
All right, so Wentz deserves a year, potentially shipping out to Green Bay per you. I think he might go to New York if they decide that Daniel Jones is hot garbage.
Yeah.
All right. Since we spoke about the man, we'll jump right into it. We'll just transition smoothly into this.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. There's a couple things on the plate for him. Number one, is he staying in Green Bay? Or is he going to leave Green Bay for another team to get a shot at a Super Bowl? And if he doesn't do either of those, does he retire? And is this the last we see of Aaron Rodgers playing? And we know Aaron Rodgers isn't the I don't know how to put this. He's very irrational in his decisions. He thinks for himself, as we all know.
He's very narcissistic.
Yeah, it's what he wants, and that's it. What's more power to him? If that works for you, cool. Does he just hang it up and say screw it? I put my all into it. I'm getting older now. I don't really want to get beat up anymore for another team that I haven't played for, and it might not formulate into anything. We might actually just suck. Or do you take that chance?
So to answer this I'll try to answer it the best I can. If does he leave Green Bay? I believe yes. He hates it Green Bay. He's kind of ran that course. He's talked about wanting out for a while now. He's talked about retiring and doing Jeopardy, but I think he still has that competitive itch to prove that he's one of the greatest because he's narcissistic. He has that ego. So I think if he decides, or when he leaves Green Bay, not if, when he leaves Green Bay, the only way he continues to play in the NFL is, one, if he goes to the 49ers, because that was his favorite team growing up, and he's always wanted to play for them. Or B, he finds a contender. I don't see the Raiders.
No. Heavens, no.
Like I said, maybe the Colts, but they're not really a contender right now. There's not really. Maybe Tampa Bay. Maybe do they replace Tom Brady with another number 12, AR-12?
I think it would be kind of a waste of their draft pick with Kyle Trask if they just draft him and
they drafted him in the second round. They did say that they're confident in Kyle Trask and they liked what they saw. So if Tom Brady was to retire, that's why they drafted him, because they like what they saw. I think it's 49ers a bust for Aaron Rodgers ultimately. That was his childhood team. That was Tom Brady's childhood team as well. But I think the 49ers are a contender. We can see that now. Obviously, they're in the NFC Championship game. They're just one good quarterback away from maybe putting them over the top. I think other than that, I think he just hangs it up. I think he's tired of football. He's still competitive, but he's just tired of it.
So I think he's going to the Steelers because he's said multiple times he doesn't want to go or play for a team that's in the middle of a rebuild.
Yeah.
The Steelers have all the pieces. They've got TJ Watt, potential next year Defensive Player of the Year, potential sack leader again, potential record-breaking sack leader, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They got a good defense. You've got wide receivers out the whatever.
Yeah.
Their offensive line isn't terrible. I mean, they've protected that rotten tree back there that's been falling for the past 2 years. They were able to protect that in Ben Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Steelers are, everybody's going to say, no, not the Steelers. Why would a Packers quarterback go to the Steelers?
Yeah.
He wants to win a championship. And the Steelers give him one of the best options for that. They already have the wide receivers they need. They have Najee Harris at back. It makes sense to me. The Steelers need a quarterback. They want to win a championship bad, and they've got the pieces to do it. Why not just pull the trigger, jump the gun, and get the man? That's my thoughts. So we'll see what happens.
I agree. There's two. I think those are 49ers and the Steelers are probably the two best fits for him too. At the end of the day.
Now that we got his potential destinations down, I'm going to ask you a question, and I just need a yes or no. Is Aaron Rodgers, if he retired today, top 5?
No.
Okay.
And this is why, right? I'll ask you these questions. These are kind of my top 5-ish kind of quarterbacks, and I'm going to play a game with you, Aaron Rodgers or.
Okay.
All right. So I want your honest opinion.
Can I let me narrow this down real quick, or
yeah.
Okay. So you're going to ask me Aaron Rodgers or insert a quarterback name.
Yeah.
Are we talking about regular season or postseason?
Everything in between.
Because there is a huge difference in between regular season Aaron Rodgers and postseason Aaron Rodgers. Because I will say Aaron Rodgers
factor in everything, because that's what happens when you talk about it. Like people bring up Manning, when people make the arguments against Manning versus Brady, they're like, well, Manning's 3-2 against Brady in the playoffs, so Brady might have more wins, but yada yada yada. Or Peyton Manning's the only quarterback to have 55 touchdowns and 5,000 passing yards still, even with the extra game of the season.
Yeah. All right, I got you. All right, let's do it.
So, all right, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, Steve Young.
Steve Young.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino.
Dan Marino.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
All right. Aaron Rodgers, John Elway.
Yeah, I'll go Elway.
I went Rodgers with this one.
I'll go Elway.
Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees.
I'm going Drew.
All right.
Drew's got more accolades.
Yeah. So if we went off that list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have Aaron Rodgers as the 8th best quarterback all time. So no, he's not top 5. Top 10, not top 5.
Yeah.
And
no, I agree 100%.
That doesn't even include Bart Starr and
Ryan Leaf,
Frank Tarkenton, Ryan Leaf, and Jamarcus Russell.
The greats.
Yeah.
So no, I fully agree. That's just a topic that's been floating around. Everybody's talking about it. Is Aaron Rodgers a top 10, a top 5, or anything like that? Yeah. If we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, the regular season quarterback, top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
100%. The man is a menace in regular season and the Hail Mary king. Okay, we'll give it to him. But the moment they enter into the postseason and they enter into the playoffs, I don't know what happens.
A man's choking on some cheese.
Even when they have home field advantage, they choke. Every single time they make it into the playoffs. I don't know. At that point, he's top 20 in the postseason, if that. So that's all I've got to say about Aaron Rodgers.
You lost to Jimmy G.
Yep. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't know if he lost to Jimmy G. He lost to that special teams. Yeah. That's what he lost to. Because Jimmy G didn't do nothing that game.
No.
All right, so not top 5. We can both agree. All right. Let's see what we got next. All right, so we both watched the games this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Both thrilled with what happened. Everything was exciting to watch.
We called all those games too.
I think we did.
So the following week, we kind of...
Yeah. So there was a little bit of controversy. We talked about it at the beginning here and a little bit in between the show, between the Bills and the Chiefs and the overtime rules. So it was an absolute just phenomenal game, a shootout in the NFL if I've ever seen one.
One of the best games,
especially in the playoffs. Both teams just give it all they've got. I've never seen the Bills play the way that they played that night. Both teams, put up, what was it, 30? I don't know. They tied,
points,
So they go into overtime, and the Kansas City Chiefs get the ball, score, game over. What are your thoughts on the NFL's current overtime?
I hate it, and I hate it for this reason. Josh Allen put his all into that game, and I 100% believe that if the Bills won that coin toss, they were going to go down and score. And then Absolutely. I'd be saying the same thing if the Chiefs lost that way, right?
I mean, Andy Reid even came out and said that the overtime. Know this: Andy Reid is the quarterback or the coach of the team that won the coin toss and won the game, and he even came out and said we should probably change the overtime rules because if they got the ball first, we'd probably be at home right now.
Yeah. So I mean, and maybe they do it like college, but make it harder because the big thing is people are like, well, we don't want, player safety, right?
Yeah.
You each have a chance to score, and then after that, you go into double overtime, and then you can have to go for 2 points, yada yada yada. And then you go to like the 10-yard line, just do 2-point conversions left and right. Maybe instead of going to the 20, If you let both teams try to score, and that's it. That's it. If you have to go into double overtime, start each team at the 50.
Yeah.
And which makes it a little harder. And at that point, you can put up 3 points to win the game. But if you only put up 3 points, the other team gets to start from the 50 and try to put up 3 points. I think that's still a hard thing to do. You got 50 yards to go.
Yeah.
Yes, technically, you can just send your kicker out there and just kick the field goal. I don't know. Maybe throw in you can only kick field goals when you're only 35 yards away. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you got to do something because it's not fair to put your heart and soul into a game.
Yeah.
And then just lose because you didn't call heads or you didn't call tails.
Yeah, agreed. So I've got a take here.
Mm-hmm.
Might be some people. I brought it up to a couple of people, and some people like it. Some people think it's a little ignorant. We'll see what you think. I think it would give value to a certain
borderline genius.
Yeah, borderline genius, and gives a certain position a lot more value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Both teams go into overtime.
Yeah.
You do the coin flip, whatever. It just decides who gets the ball first. That's it. Yeah. Each kicker from the opposing side starts at the 20-yard line. Okay. Just like every regular field goal, it goes down. All right. You make it, cool. The other team has to make a field goal at the 20-yard line. If they make it at the 20-yard line, it gets pushed back to the 30-yard line.
So it's like a soccer shootout.
Exactly, but with kickers.
And you just keep moving
and
it back
you just
and back.
keep going and pushing it back until one misses and the other doesn't.
That is borderline genius.
Borderline genius.
That is a great idea. I'd watch that. It'd be so fun trying to see Justin Tucker kick a 75-yard field goal for the win. You're sitting like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just imagine it getting down to 60 yards. Both kickers are just sitting there, and you're like, oh, my God, are they going to make it? One makes it, and then you're just sitting there like, is he going to get this one?
Now, the wrinkle, is it just the kicker and, say, the holder and the long snapper?
Oh, no, full team.
Team?
Regular, just regular kick. Nothing altered about it. Got the whole squad out there. Because it's a whole nother element, whenever you have 250 people or 250-pound people running at you.
When it gets deep, that would make kickers one of the most valuable positions in the game.
Yep.
2, my question is, can the opposing team return the missed field goal if it's short?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like a regular field goal. Everything that is legal or accompanies a regular field goal would be the same for this. If you return it, you get 3 points. You don't get a touchdown, but you get 3 points.
That's
I think it would be genius. I mean, it brings a new value to the kicking position. Mm-hmm. It eliminates the high risk of injuries on normal plays. It allows for an even more thrilling overtime, and it gives both teams the chance to win the game.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good. And you said that's for double overtime, right?
Just straight up in overtime. Straight up overtime. Just don't even worry about.
So it's exactly like soccer in a sense where it goes into a shootout. If it's tied at the end, you just go into a. Hopefully your goalie's good enough to block every kick.
Exactly. Because that means special teams becomes a more valued position on the team. Everybody on that side of the ball, kickers, punters. I mean, everybody on special teams now has a increased value on the team because they are win it or go home at certain points in the game. Yeah. That's my thought.
I think kickers will be drafted a lot more too.
Yeah, and just like the Cincinnati Bengals, they drafted a kicker for a reason, and you saw it last weekend. Chomp.
Former Florida Gator.
All right. Let's jump into some of these games. Speaking of the Bengals, getting near the end of things here. Just going to throw out the 2 games we have this upcoming weekend. We'll dive into what we think the score might be. Who do you think will win? Stuff like that. Started off strong with the Cincinnati Bengals at the Chiefs.
for the sake of wanting Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes to not be doing TikTok dances, I'm going the Bengals. Yeah, and that's just because I don't want to see the whole.
Fair enough.
I just don't want to see it. Nothing against. Fair enough. It's just I can't anymore.
No, I got you, man. I think you, the entire NFL fan base, anybody on social media can agree with you there that is the only reason why anybody's rooting against the Chiefs, because Patrick Mahomes is a likable guy. Yeah. I love watching him play, but his fiance and his brother, that's all I got. Terrible.
Over the top.
Horrible.
Man.
All right. So I agree with you. I'm rooting for the Bengals. I've got family in Cincinnati now, so I got ties to Cincinnati. So I'm not calling myself a bandwagon.
Yeah.
I'm calling myself positioned in a spot to cheer for this one team that is potentially better.
Well, then, and ultimately they're the underdogs in this game because you got Patrick Mahomes who's been there before.
You heard Joey B. He does not like to be called the underdog.
My bad. He grew up a Chiefs fan, so maybe he throws the game to see the Chiefs go.
No. Joey B is cold-blooded, man. Look, I haven't seen a team with the amount of chemistry that the Bengals have. I mean, if you go through and watch a lot of their pre-game clips or end-game clips, they're laughing the entire game.
Yeah.
They're making jokes, they're messing around with each other. Because they're all like 20. Yeah. They're like 20-year-old college kids making millions of dollars. But anyways, extremely talented quarterback, extremely talented wide receivers. I would say decent at best running backs. They don't have
Joe Mixon was top 3 this year in rushing yards. So,
but on average, is he great or average?
He's top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah, if you ask me if I want Ezekiel Elliott or Joe Mixon, I'm going Mixon because he's more consistent. If you ask me, Saquon or Mixon, I'm going Mixon. If you ask me Dalvin Cook or Mixon, that was a toss-up.
You would take Mixon over Dalvin Cook.
Just as far as injuries go, I mean,
I'm not talking about injuries. I'm talking about a healthy running back. Talent.
I'll take Dalvin.
I'm taking Cook all day.
I know, but who are you taking over? Honestly, so you got JT. We'll say Cook. We'll say Derrick Henry.
Kamara.
I guess Alvin Kamara. I mean, he hasn't beaten Joe Mixon in rushing yards in 3 seasons. So, I mean, come on now.
I'm taking Alvin Kamara.
He slept because he goes to the Bengals. He's on the Bengals. That's why he slept.
Look. I know what he's got. Okay, I know what that man's got. All right, I got you. I'm understanding, but I'm saying he's not a great running back. He's an average, good running back. On the Bengals, he looks like a really good running back.
Almost 1,000 yards every season he's been in the NFL. Aside to the couple he's been hurt.
Hey, I'm just saying. I said what I said.
Okay, so you got Kamara. So that still puts Mixon at 5. Because who else you taking over? I'm taking Mixon over. The running back, can't remember his name, on the Raiders.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. I'm taking Mixon over Jacobs.
I'm taking Henry Ruggs. That man can't fly.
My man, put that man in the driver's seat of your team.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We'll say Joe Mixon right now is currently top 5 running backs. I'll give it to you. All right. What do you think the score is going to be? Who do you think is going to win?
27-24 Bengals win by a field goal. Evan McPherson wins it on a 54-yarder.
You think he's going to ice it again?
Ice it.
You think he's going to ice it for a trip to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. He's the only rookie in the NFL history to make, I think it was X amount of 50-yard field goals and not miss a single one in the playoffs. I think he's 3 for 3.
Okay.
I'll make it 4 for 4 to go all the way.
It would be season fitting for the Cincinnati Bengals to ice the game with a field goal for a chance at the Super Bowl, because this season has been kickers, especially the postseason. Okay. I got the Bengals winning, but I got them winning by a touchdown. going to say 14-21.
Okay.
Bengals. I don't think we're going to need any kickers in this game. So I'm going Bengals.
That's the kicker.
I just don't think the Chiefs. I know. Look, the Chiefs are a lot better than what we first thought they were at the beginning of the season.
Turned it around.
But they're still not the Chiefs that we're used to seeing. Although the Bills game, outside of their defense, they look like a really good team. That's one thing we didn't talk about. Nobody's talked about. The defense sucked on both sides of the ball.
The Bills and the Chiefs. Yeah, it was just a shootout. It was just whoever.
That was
more points.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well have not even put anybody up on the defensive line because nobody was doing anything.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Terrible.
And terrible. I love a good defensive game. I'm a fan of it. But anyways, the 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. Who do you got? What's the score? Got any takes on it?
Listen, everyone knows if you watched from the first episode, I've had Rams since week 1 going all the way. They're the only ones that I originally said Rams versus Bills. But the Bills, I kind of switched up with either the Chiefs. I did have the Chiefs versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. However, I'm going to pick Bengals versus the Rams. I'm sticking with them. They haven't. I kind of got scared during the regular season. I'm not going to lie. I kind of wanted to back off and go with the Cardinals, but I stuck with the Rams. I think that if I go against the Rams, they're going to bite me in the dust. I know the 49ers have had their calling card for the past couple years. But I think it's going to come down to Jimmy G or Matthew Stafford and who you trust more. And I'm going Matt Stafford. And even if this is Matt Stafford's last year, I don't think it will be. But he's older. He's up there too, and he's been hit probably more times than Brady has in his entire 20-year career. I think Stafford wins this over the 49ers 32-21.
All right.
And they play their Super Bowl in LA.
All right. I'm biased. I'm going to be biased as can be here. I'm not even going to lie because, look, this Sunday I'm going to be wearing some neon blue shorts. I'm going to have some yellow Crocs on. I'm going to have my Rams hat. I'm going to have an Aaron Donald jersey on. If I had some yellow and blue paint, you'd see me in some yellow and blue paint. All right. I am hype. I am full-blown bias here. I'm going Rams all day long. The 49ers have had our numbers in the regular season for I don't know how long, but this is playoff football. This is a different energy, and we have a quarterback who's been an underdog, who's been trashed on for his entire career and has an opportunity to get a Super Bowl. And Jimmy G and his pretty little face ain't going to be able to do nothing against that defense. Yeah, that man's handsome. Come on now. I got the Rams winning 28, beating the 49ers with 10.
By 10.
Rams to the Super Bowl. Rams versus Bengals. Families conflicted here because we got the Cincinnati fam and we got the Rams fam.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a house divided. Rams all day.
So if it's Rams, Bengals, who you got winning the game?
Rams all day, every day.
I'm going Rams too. I think it's their
blue and gold.
I think it's Matt Stafford's year. And then I think they put together a pretty super team defense with Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey.
OBJ.
Yeah, OBJ. Here's a scenario. I'm just going to throw it out there. If Fletcher Cox leaves the team this year for Philadelphia Eagles, he's up there in age. You know, he doesn't play great this year. He's played decent.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to leave Philly, but you know how Howie Roseman is. If the Rams, say, hey, we'll give you a 3rd-round pick for him, take that contract off your hands. Imagine next year you have Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, and Von Miller on that defensive line.
Disgusting. Disgusting. I'm pretty sure that there's somewhere within the rules or something that says that literal lineup is illegal. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's etched somewhere in there. I don't know where, but it's in there.
That would be dangerous.
That would be disgusting. Oh, God.
Put a little.
Don't get my hopes up. That'd be great.
Flutter in your heart because how he's been trying to trade him for this past year. He's been trying to get him off his hands. So It's up there.
I would just hate for. We're known to give up a lot of stuff for a little.
Yeah.
That's the Rams way. When we want something, we get it regardless of what we got to give up. I would just hate to see us give up a lot for a dwindling defensive player.
I think he's still a top 5, top 6 DTT.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not number 2 anymore. He's not. It's not like it used to be Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, and everyone else kind of falls after that. Yeah. But I think if you maybe a new change of scenery pumps him back up to where he used to be, that's scary. 2, new defensive coordinator. We don't have a great defensive coordinator. Fletcher Cox had to play pass defense in a sense of he was in coverage a couple times this year. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He's 300 pounds. Why you putting a 300-pounder on
yeah.
a running back? But
why did the Eagles not do well this year?
Yeah. So
there's one reason.
But I think you could probably get Fletcher Cox because one issue with the Eagles is his contract.
Yeah. That's our issue.
Yeah.
You want to talk about contract issues?
But I think if the Rams are going to win it all mode next year, they're like, hey, we got close this year. Say if you lose to the Bengals or whatever. I don't think you will, but if they're trying to repeat, I think you could get Fletcher for a second. This year's second-round pick and maybe a third next year, and that's it. Maybe a backup player to kind of throw in there or something you don't really play.
We got a washer machine.
Yeah, I got a washer machine. And I think you could get Fletcher Cox for that, and I think Philly would be happy with a second and a third.
Agreed. I mean, it'd be interesting to see because, that would be one of the scariest defenses ever created in the NFL. And it would be an absolute joy to watch
and
as a Rams
Matt
fan.
gets signed to you guys for...
Oh, get out of here. Yeah, right.
You got Von Miller one side, Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald.
The only way the Rams would get Mack is if John Gruden came back and, signed on as head coach with the Chicago Bears. That's the only way. Yeah. I still cannot believe that man let that dude go.
Yeah. And
makes 0 sense.
That would be a team, though. You're not going to get Khalil Mack, but you could get Fletcher Cox, and that would, you might have to.
That'd be interesting.
Cut some players, instead of holding 53 people on the roster, maybe holding only 42 because of all the contracts. But
we are drowning.
Yeah.
We're paying Aaron Donald an absurd amount of money already.
Yeah. So another team he wanted to go to is the Arizona Cardinals. Just because he's best friends with Zach Ertz and Jordan Hicks, who's the linebacker there.
Pairing him up with Jones. Ugh.
Yeah.
Already one of the best defenses in the league right now.
Yeah. So if this is Fletcher Cox's last year in Philly, Rams are the Cardinals, but Rams next year would be dangerous with him. I don't want to see it because obviously I'm a huge Fletcher Cox fan, but it's a possibility with Howard Roseman as your GM.
Hey, as a Rams fan, I'll be open to it, depending on what we have to give up.
Yeah.
But if we're able to get them for fairly cheap and not have to lose out on anybody too good, I'm down with it, man.
I think a second-round pick is good enough for a top 6 DT. I think that would. I'd be like, second-round pick this year. We're pretty solid on most parts, of our team.
We sling around draft picks like it's candy, so.
Yeah. You guys drafted Tutu Atwell just because you had nothing. You didn't need anything.
Yeah. What are we going to do?
You're like,
might as well pick him up.
We got Van Jefferson, Odell Beckham. Oh, we didn't have Odell at the time, but now you have Odell. And then you have Cooper Kupp, and you're like.
And Robert Woods.
You have Robert Woods. And you're like, man, we have Aaron Donald. We don't need defensive line. Yeah. And Von Miller. We don't need a corner. We don't need a safety. We don't need linebackers. Let's pick up this 5'9", 160-pound Tutu Atwell. Let's just give him a
This
chance.
is the draft board behind me, okay? This is what happened. Just picture this as a draft board. I'm in the war room, Rams right now. We're like, all right, we're up. What do we need? Right there. Whoever that is, pick them up right now. That's what the 2-2 pickup was.
And the Los Angeles Rams select Emory Jones, quarterback, Florida.
Oh, get out of here. No,
Matthew Stafford retires.
God. No.
He's actually switching to receiver?
Jones?
He's thinking about switching to running back or receiver. He's staying at Florida. He's not leaving Florida.
Ugh.
I think ultimately he runs a 4.4. So at running back, he might.
He does?
Yeah, he runs a 4.4.
Wow. I thought he was slower than that.
No. So
okay.
I think him at running back, maybe not receiver. He's 6'2", so he's not
short.
Yeah,
but 6'2".
He's 6'2", 215, 220. So he's not a small running back, but he's not a small wide receiver either. If he has hands, might as well try him.
Yeah, I mean, it's
kind of late in your career to be switching positions. But
yeah,
I mean,
it's Tim Tebow move right there. That's I got nothing else.
Nobody else wants more eligibility left before he has to go pro. So he's got 1 year to prove that he's a good running back or wide receiver. So, I mean, Kadarius Toney, right? Kadarius Toney came to Florida as a wide receiver or as a quarterback. Was second or third. He was third string behind Kyle Trask and Felipe Franks. And then they asked him, "Hey, you're 5'11", 180, 190 pounds. You're super electric. We want to get you the ball in the hands. Would you mind switching to wide receiver?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he started his, he didn't start, but he played a lot his freshman, sophomore year. And now he's first round pick. So, but I do think it's not the first time that you see a quarterback switch positions like to wide receiver.
No,
but not this late in the game.
I think like you have 1 year left. This is literally make it or break it. You mess up, you get injured, anything like that, and it's done. Yeah. Game over. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So he's staying.
That's
with Florida.
Bold move, though.
He's staying with Florida. I thought he was going to transfer.
Did he play running back or wide receiver in high school at all?
No, he was a dual threat quarterback, like number 3.
What is he doing? Oh my God! This man played some pickup football, outside of class or whatever, and caught a decent pass, and he was like, "I'm not gonna be QB. I'll just be a wide
out." There's no way he starts over Anthony Richardson. I know this is off topic for the NFL, but there's no way he does. Anyways,
that is wild, man.
I think that is the show.
That's all we got. We got 2 games slated. It's going to be another great weekend, hopefully, regardless of the outcomes. The football fans, it's going to be a treat. Make sure you tune in. Tuesday is when we're hoping to get out another episode, I believe, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to try and pump out another episode Tuesday, get some stuff on these games going out, and our predictions for the Super Bowl. Appreciate everybody stopping in. Apologize for being late on this week. I'll take the blame for that one. The scheduling issues and stuff on my end. But thank you again. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, hit the Twitter page. We're always updating on there, regardless of scheduling.
February 2nd. We're not doing college episodes anymore, but February 2nd is National Signing Day. We will be up on Twitter constantly when people sign. You got big name stars like Harold Perkins still looking to sign somewhere after he decommitted to Texas A&M. We will be telling you where they're going on our Twitter on February 2nd.
Yep. So if you want to keep up to date, see what's going on, we got your back covered. Check us out there on Twitter. It's Sideline2Sideline. With that, I'm signing us off. Thank you. Brandon, do you have anything you want to add?
That's it. I think that's it.
All right. Appreciate it, everyone.
All right, bye.